Peggy 16.
You're watching Battlefield Bootcamp, and this episode I'm joined by Addison, and today we're going to be discussing sniping. So Addison, there is a lot more to sniping than meets the eye when it comes to Battlefield, so what's the basics if you want to become a good shooter?
Well, there's a few things that you don't really have to think about in the other classes, things like bullet drop and bullet travel time. So bullet drop is basically gravity would affect the bullet if it's traveling over a large distance. So what you need to do is you need to sort of practice shooting at distance. You want to keep the same gun, keep the same scope, and what you want to do is see where your bullets are hitting. And that way you can sort of gauge how much drop your gun has, how much drop your scope has, and then adjust for it.
And there's also bullet travel time. Battlefield doesn't actually use hit scan when you fire the sniper rifle, so what's important to realise is when you see someone sprinting across the field, if you fire directly at them, you're not going to hit them. You need to aim in front of them and lead them, much like if you were flying a jet on the game. So if someone's sprinting in front of you, aim in front of them and pull the trigger. And each rifle will actually behave slightly different when it comes to bullet travel time. So as you correctly mentioned, pick your favourite and stick with it. Now, a lot of people when they begin sniping, they get the SV98, it's their first bolt action, and it does the trick. My personal favourite is the M40A5. It's a good mid to long range sniper, so you can use it up close or snipe them at a distance. However, I do find a lot of people, especially those who have trouble with bullet drop and bullet travel time, like the M98B. It is one of the last snipers you get, but if you point and click, the bullet will hit there straight away. So the M98B is definitely a rifle to get your hands on if you're a sniper noob.
Yeah.
Now moving on from that, I always see a lot of people asking where's the best sniper spots. When you're in game, you'll see people sitting on notorious sniper hills. However, I kind of feel that's not the best way to play the sniper. Why is that, Addison?
No, yeah, you hear a lot of people asking for spots and places like that, but you wouldn't do that in any of the other classes. You wouldn't pick a spot and sit there for ages. Why do it with the sniper? You want to think about the sniper as the same as all the other classes. I would personally, though, put them just behind support. So if you imagine a line extending out from the front of the engagement away from the enemy towards your spawn, I would place the engineers and the assault rifles at the front and the competent snipers. But then I would have, going further back, I'd have the support people, maybe the people who want to use bipods with the heavy machine guns, and then just behind those people, providing support, that's where I would place the snipers, the long range snipers. You don't want to be further back in the building, up in a bush on a mountain range somewhere, that's way too far. Just place yourself just behind, if you're new to it, trying it out, place yourself just behind the support players. That's where you'll be most effective.
However, let's not discredit the fact that a competent sniper on the front line can do a hell of a lot of damage. I'm going to go back to my beloved M40A5. I like to be in the front, I can down people before they kill my team, and we can really make a big push. You mentioned earlier to stick with a specific scope when you're learning to snipe. What kind of different scopes can a Battlefield sniper expect to come across?
Oh, there's all sorts, from the no scope all the way up to the 12x scope. But you can use the no scopes in things like close quarters and be an effective sniper. So personally, the tip is for beginners. The idea is you stick with the scope so you can learn how to snipe and learn how to gauge the bullet drop and bullet travel. But then my advice to the advanced snipers would be to find the scope for the situation. You know, if you're going to be playing close quarters and you want to play the sniper, you can. You just don't equip a 12x scope. Just the same if you're trying to attack down a long corridor to two rush MCOMs and you're being pushed back and back, having a no scope on is going to be just as useless. So yeah, it's all about, for myself personally, once you know how to snipe, it's all about finding the right scope for the right situation.
No, exactly. I mean, I've been sniping for a fair while now on Battlefield, and I find that the 8x scope, it's the vanilla scope, never had a problem with it. I've flirted with the 12 a bit, but I just find it really awkward as I've always been adjusted to the drop and what I can see when I'm looking at an 8x scope.
And a quick thing to mention is the different magnifications actually have a different sensitivity. So there's a difference between the 12x scope and the 8x scope sensitivity and how fast you'll be able to move across the screen, pan across your scenery that you're aiming at somebody. So yeah, for yourself, sticking with the 8x scope, it's what you know, it's how you know the sensitivity of it. Switching out might be terrible for you. So yeah, good idea, sticking to what you know.
So you'd recommend that the 12x scope's primarily used for counter sniping or taking out engineers at range possibly?
Yeah, definitely. You can even do things like with the sniper rifles, you can blow up mines and C4, and they're sort of things that you don't want to be stood next to. So yeah, 12x scope is definitely useful also.
Yeah, and let's not forget the sniper does have a cheeky trick up its sleeve in regards to helicopters if you want to kind of build on that.
Yeah, definitely. You can take people out by shooting them out of the windows and steal the heli then, can't you?
Well, I think it's kind of a rite of passage for any Battlefield sniper when you get your first helicopter pilot with your sniper rifle. I remember mine. Any last things when it comes to the scopes themselves?
Yeah, well, something I didn't actually realise until maybe, I don't know, 100 hours of playing Battlefield or something like that is that any scope that is 8 times or higher actually has a scope glint on it. So it's basically like a sort of lens flare or like a sort of little light that you might see just off in the distance, like a flashlight, but really far away. And I think you only see the scope glint if they're aiming within a certain degree of your position. So it's very important to watch for the scope glints and then aim for them, because yeah, it's a lot easier to take out the sniper if you're aiming straight through his scope.
Well, thanks for the tips, Addison. Hopefully this will help you out with your sniping. We'll see you next time.